Greetings, friend, and welcome. The AI arms race just took another twist. For years, the United States has been restricting China's access to the most advanced semiconductors, blocking Nvidia's top AI chips from being exported. But now, China is pushing back in a surprising way. Reports say Beijing has banned its own top tech firms, including ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent, from buying Nvidia chips. Why would China block its own companies from buying the very hardware they desperately need? The answer reveals the next chapter in the AI arms race: self-reliance, sovereignty, and a battle over who controls the future of computing. A ban that looks backward until you look closer. At first glance, this ban looks bizarre. Why would China deny its biggest companies access to the best AI chips? Don't they want to compete in AI research, cloud services, and applications? But this isn't a sign of weakness. It's a signal of strategy. Beijing wants to force its domestic firms to rely on homegrown alternatives. By cutting off the easy button of Nvidia's GPUs, China is betting it can accelerate the growth of its domestic chip industry. It's the same playbook China has used before: protect the domestic market, nurture local champions, then scale globally. Think of Huawei in telecom, BYD in electric vehicles, or TikTok in social media. The Nvidia problem. To understand the stakes, you need to understand Nvidia. Nvidia isn't just a chip company, it's the beating heart of the AI revolution. Its A100 and H100 GPUs are the gold standard for training large language models. Without them, progress slows dramatically. That's why the US banned their export to China in 2022, cutting off access to the hardware that powers frontier AI. Nvidia tried to create China-only chips with slightly reduced capabilities, like the A800 and H800. But even those are now under US restrictions, and Beijing has grown frustrated with this cat-and-mouse game. So instead of letting its firms scramble for scraps, China has slammed the door. No more Nvidia, period. The rise of domestic alternatives. Enter China's domestic chipmakers. Huawei has launched the Ascend line of AI processors. Byron Technology is working on GPUs designed for AI workloads. Cambricon, Horizon Robotics, and others are all pushing forward. Are they as powerful as Nvidia's H100? Not yet. Benchmarks show a clear performance gap, but China doesn't need perfection right away. It needs good enough hardware to keep its AI ecosystem moving forward. By forcing ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent to buy domestic chips, China ensures there's a market for them. Billions of dollars of guaranteed demand. That money fuels R&D, scales production, and narrows the gap with Nvidia. The bigger strategy: self-reliance. This ban is part of a larger strategy called indigenous innovation. China's leadership has declared AI, semiconductors, and quantum computing as choke point technologies, areas where reliance on foreign suppliers is a national security risk. The logic is simple. If your rival can cut off your supply chain, you're not really sovereign. By banning Nvidia chips, Beijing is telling its own companies, get used to living without American technology. Build Chinese, buy Chinese. This is painful in the short term, but strategically powerful in the long run. Risks and trade-offs. Of course, there are risks. Chinese companies may struggle to keep up in global AI research if their hardware lags behind. Domestic chips could be more expensive or less reliable at first. Forcing firms to use local options could stifle competitiveness. But the upside from Beijing's perspective is worth it: technological independence. They'd rather move a little slower now than risk being permanently dependent on Nvidia. The global implications. This move has ripple effects far beyond China. For Nvidia, losing ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent as customers is a huge hit. China accounts for up to 25% of Nvidia's data center revenue. This ban could cost billions. For the US, the strategy of choking China's AI progress with export controls just got more complicated. Beijing is no longer waiting for Washington's next move, it's cutting itself off proactively. For the world, we're watching the AI ecosystem split into two spheres: US plus allies with Nvidia, and China with its own chips. That's the blueprint for a fragmented AI future. Is it bluff or breakthrough? Here's the big question. Are China's domestic chips really ready? Some analysts think this is partly bluff, that Beijing is projecting strength while its firms quietly scramble to maintain access to Nvidia through third parties. Smuggling, shell companies, and gray market GPUs are already well documented. But others argue that Huawei's Ascend 910B and Bahrain's BR100 are closer than people think. And once Chinese companies start using them at scale, optimization and software improvements could close the gap faster than expected. The long game. This ban isn't about 2025, it's about 2030 and beyond. China's goal is to be fully self-sufficient in semiconductors by the end of the decade. Forcing its tech giants to adapt now accelerates that timeline. The US wanted to slow China down with export controls. Ironically, those controls may have pushed Beijing to move even faster. It's the paradox of sanctions. Sometimes pressure produces innovation. China banning its own top firms from buying Nvidia chips might look like self-sabotage. But in reality, it's a bet on the future, a painful step toward independence in the most critical technology of our time. This isn't just about semiconductors. It's about sovereignty. And in the AI arms race, sovereignty may be the most valuable chip of all. This is Micah Sai, and you're watching the Singularity Hub. Subscribe for more.